I'm just checking in on the state I'm in, trying to find where I start, where I've been, running circles in a straight line spin, just checking in on the state I'm in. I say it once, say twice again, still don't know if I lose or win. Same old loop that I'm living in, just checking.
So anyways, after that very first short cut, just this like pressure we put on ourselves, and I'm assuming it's, you know, both sexes will do it, but I have the tendency to believe that men put a lot more pressure on themselves than most women do. I don't even know if I want to say that.
I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about it on the way here and thinking about what we were going to talk about, and I started thinking about how I think it's very easy for myself, other men that I know, I'm sure women also feel this way, but like taking on responsibilities and challenges just like of life and just showing up and getting them done, and how much of that is like we tie into our self-worth and how we feel about ourselves, and if we're doing well or not, successful or not. And I think by default call that happiness. And I don't know if that's true, because how much of that is like based on other people's expectations of success, right? Like if we agreed to do certain things in life and take on certain responsibilities, whether it's with like kids or job, partner, whatever, we like subconsciously agree to take on this responsibility or take on this challenge or whatever it may be, you know, and we call it happiness, and we call it growth and, you know, achievement. And how much of that though is really like if we were to sit down and just pick the things that we want to achieve in life or show up for, it might not look like successfully completing this project on time, or, you know, running these extra errands or these extra tasks to, you know, whatever the case may be, to whatever end it may be. And how much of that do we end up saying like, yeah, I'm happy in life, you know, when it's like, it's really based on expectations that we've created like for ourselves based on other people and how that will affect the dynamic, or based on somebody just how they'll treat us, whether or not we do those things, you know. And I don't know, man. I was thinking about it on the way here.
That's great. And yeah. So we, as men, we come into a situation where we come into a problem, and we want most of the men that I know, right? Mm-hmm. They come into a situation, they come into a problem. If they're not, you know, completely lazy or whatever, they want to show their self-worth. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lack of that nowadays with the younger generation, for sure. Even in mine, this attachment to like self-worth, to their work ethic, to any task that they have to do, whether it's taking out the trash or working a 10-hour day. That's something that seems to lacks nowadays, where it doesn't seem to be as important to put all of your effort into each thing, even though that's what grows the self-worth. But we come into a situation wanting to give it our all, right? Like, so if your kids are like, hey, what we were talking about, if your kids are like, hey, I want to go fishing, well, immediately you're like, how am I going to make that happen? Like, how am I going to please them? Mm-hmm. Because that's my job as a parent. Or when I'm in a relationship and somebody's, you know, like, somebody will ask me, when I'm in a relationship, and I don't know why I was trying to not say her name, but I think
you're just applying.
Yeah, I'm trying to apply it. So, but when I'm in a relationship and Cass asks me for something, regardless of if she knows that we can afford it or not, my brain's already snapping into the fact that like, how can I do it? How can I please her? How can I like make sure that happens? Mm-hmm. Regardless of now, I've had my conversations with her to basically say like, I need your help understanding that, like, regardless of the fact when you go, oh, we should do this. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand on your perspective, it's a, hey, I really want to go do this fun thing. It doesn't have to happen right now. Like, that is your perspective, but my brain immediately
Automatically,
goes to,
yeah.
how can I make this happen?
Yeah.
Like, how can I achieve this immediately, which means I now stop all prioritization towards anything else that's going on in my life to make sure that I can make that happen. And I actually choose to sacrifice to make sure I can make that happen. That's a me problem entirely. The whole, like, immediately, walking away from your life that you are trying to prioritize in order to benefit somebody else. And because even though they have no expectations of that, they just saying they want to, people can be told no, regardless of who they are on any bit of levels.
Yeah. Now,
it's really fucking hard when you care and love for somebody, but you also have to care and love for yourself enough to basically be like, I can't, we're dialing in, we're buckling down. Like, I'm sorry, I can't give you anything that you want right now, but the life that I'm creating will allow for us to do those sorts of things without the sacrifice, without the major sacrifice. So you make the sacrifice now, prioritize, and like with your kids, that's like teaching them to do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I think that it depends on the situation, which is why it makes this, I guess, topic more challenging, right? Yeah. Because every situation you're looking at has a few different elements to it that are like deep seated in something else, right? Like, so boundaries is the ability to say yes or no. Wanting to please somebody, is that creating a value and a worth within yourself that you think once you do this, oh, it's like the next level. Like, oh, now I can relax. Like, now I'm happy because I gave that to them or did that for them. In the case of like fishing with my kids, it's the need and the feeling of needing to complete. It's the feeling of needing to do other things and perform other tasks and responsibilities, so I'm not able to take them.
Yeah.
That is the challenge for me there, because I would actually much rather just take them. But if I have responsibilities or things I've agreed to previously, or commitments that I have or they have for something on like a weekend, it makes it hard to not follow the responsibilities or the tasks that, were agreed to.
Yeah.
So
instead of saying
like
no,
opposite.
Instead of being like, I need to say no to them, it's like, I need to say yes.
Yeah. Things.
But I'm putting the other things in
right.
priority, to like prioritizing those other things. And I completely get that. And like, that's what you said, like this whole dynamic of this is super challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a huge challenge to try and like rope around, but forgot where I was going to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it makes it tough. I don't know. I know there's things that I have agreed to within my own mind that tie in with other people, whether it's my kids or like in a relationship, whatever it may be. There's things that you like agree to yourself to show up for and to do and follow through on. And, some of it I think genuinely is needed and is a good thing to show up for and be present for and follow through on. And then other stuff I think we add, or maybe another person does add it on to us and we feel like we have to achieve that or give that to them in order for them to be okay, so that we can say we're okay, to tell ourselves we're doing a good job.
Which is a massive amount of pressure.
Yeah.
So we go back to pressure and the fact that, like, not that. So, like, the pressure, for an example of, like, somebody goes and someone's had a job for a while and they're working hard and they don't feel as if they're met, or they, like, the amount of money they're getting isn't tied to the quality of work that they're doing. And it's been a while since they've gotten some kind of raise. They start job searching and they realize that they're not being paid what they should be getting paid for the job. And so they go to leave, or, they're getting offers and the other company decides to match an offer. Well, that person is going to go back into that job, and even though they were already doing the job that required the money that they are now getting, now they feel like, I'm sure that they feel an immense amount of pressure to stand up to the money. Now they're just doing a shitload of extra work because the eyes are on them at the company, because the company gave them the money, even though the work was already being performed for that amount of money. And like, that pressure doesn't necessarily need to exist. Now it's hard to tell. It's hard to like work away from that, because you're basically just right back in the same position. Now you're working double time to prove that you were already worth the money that you are getting, but the eyes are on you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two aspects to that. The first is, if somebody's willing to pay, I think it's good to check your options and things like that as you're working through life, because things change.
Definitely do it.
Things change, needs change. It's good to see what your market value is, and I think if somebody's willing to agree to pay more to keep you around, then that's good.
Absolutely.
But it probably means they should have been already doing that, which is disappointing, I think, at times. But sometimes it takes an action to create the reaction or the change.
And that's the way that businesses are run too. Like, I wouldn't go and hire somebody in at the maximum amount of cost that I can afford to pay them. Right. Like, you have to have leeways in business, and I completely understand that.
Well, and sometimes the rates for things, like in my industry, the specific role that I'm in, there are less and less people doing. For every 4 or 5 guys retiring, there's 2 or 3 coming in.
If that.
So the cost of living and the cost of the projects, everything goes up. So I think it's just a natural reaction to, the cost of life, right? Eventually the job market should catch up with things. It's unfortunate that it's backwards, right? Like, I think people should try to show up and take care of people to the best of their ability, and then you get a better performance, and you get, like, you're making the quality of life better for that person. But sometimes you just don't know, I think, in certain industries. And then once you have multiple people moving through the industry at a new rate, then it kind of drives the market value up, and sometimes it takes a minute to catch up, especially if people haven't been hiring for a while, or if they hire for a certain role with less frequency. It might be, they might not really know where to set the price at. But as to what you're saying, as far as the pressure goes, or how the pressure increases, I think it feels good to get to where you're trying to get to and feeling like you're achieving something financially. And chances are you were already doing the job. If you're getting the match or the raise or the bonus or the new offer, you probably were already doing that. And I think it's like a double-sided coin, right? Like, part of it is a good thing that creates more responsibility and more growth, and you should always be leveling up. So it's like a new challenge, a new personal challenge, I think, to try and work to the standard that you think is being set.
And you are setting yourself up for the next level.
Yeah.
Right. And like, whether that's at that specific company that decided to keep you on, or at the next one.
Yeah, just in life.
And in life too. I mean, it's consistently struggling to achieve something is always going to better yourself, regardless if you feel like you're getting nowhere.
Yeah.
The one little steps at a time that are moving you up, you don't necessarily notice. It might feel like you're tiptoeing in the smallest factor, but by the time you look back up a year later, you've achieved so much.
Yeah.
And when we talk about pressure, I don't think that it's good to obviously look in the rear view, like when we were talking about before, this like rumination and this dwelling on negative aspects of our life. What I do think it's good to look behind and see how far you've come. Obviously, that's a positive, task to do. I think a lot of us as men don't do that. I think, especially in the monotony of life, when we allow our day in and day out to soak up as many days as it possibly can, it's our responsibility to not let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know there's quotes and references to different things in history and things people have discussed or said, but it reminds me of the whole, be thankful for what you have or the challenges that you're facing, because you once prayed for those challenges. You know, you once were begging life to give you those new levels of responsibility and achievement. So it's like, as stressful and challenging as life is, in some way, shape, or form, you initiated the actions that got you into that place. So whether you did intentionally and willfully put yourself in the situation or life happened to you, you're there, and it's your decision to participate or not. And I think it's good to try and remember that you're probably facing certain challenges because it's the challenge or the challenges that you're asking for to get you to the next level of whatever that area might be. And I think when it's not, that's when it's important to look at why you're doing the thing you're doing, and is it worth it, how it affects you, the people you care about, and make a decision based off of that. Like, I'm always trying to do more career wise, as an example. But if that gets to a point where it's going to negatively affect my ability to spend time with my kids or show up in the way that I need to for that, then, it would be a problem and I'd have to make an adjustment. But that would probably be due to wanting a different level, right? And asking for that change. So I think having the awareness to all this stuff is important. And I think we're all aware of it, even if we don't sit there and talk it out like you and I do and like vocalize it. I think it's things that you feel, and that's where like anxiety or stress, that's where that pressure can negatively affect you, and then like when you reframe it and try and put that kind of spin on it, like you asked for it, like show up for it, you asked for it. It makes it a little bit easier to stomach and like take on that pressure. You put a positive spin on it, which definitely does help as you get through it.
I think like when it comes to defeating the pressure, there's a lot of writing in books and stuff about doing year-end reviews on yourself financially, personally, like spiritually, and see how far you've grown. I think it benefits people who are struggling more with the pressure of day in and day out, even if you can't do it on a daily task. Because for some people, like telling somebody to do something on a daily, like just go ahead and start this in like today, it's daunting. If for whatever reason, even if it's the smallest thing, I mean, we have the B.A.D operation, like that literally starts with one small task.
Yep.
It's hard for people to even admit that they don't want to do one small thing. So you shift it into okay, well, like this month, like if you don't start today, start next week, write down, where you're at, write down how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And then next month, put it in your phone and like have it ding at like 8:30, like whenever you're just chilling at night. Have it, your calendar go off. Takes 2 whole seconds to put in a calendar date and put an alert. Have it go off at, 8:30 at night. You get that ding, punch it back into your phone if you're not writing down in a journal. If you're not ready for all of that, punch it down in and write how you're feeling. And then as soon as you're done writing how you're feeling now, go back and see if you're still feeling the same way. Because if you are, that process is going to continue for 12 months. That process is going to continue for 24 or 48 months. And if you don't do anything to change it, you're just going to continuously write down the same way that you're feeling. And so you need to, like, having even a month-end review, you're not wasting as much time. It's hard for people to be like, oh, hey, like, do it every week. For whatever reason, it sounds daunting. For me, at least, I'd be like, just once this month doesn't feel as daunting.
Yeah,
I don't know how that is for other people, but just try taking how you're feeling in 1 month and go to the next month and write it down again and just match it.
Yeah,
take your pros, take your cons.
Yeah.
And what is it? The Venn diagram. right? Like figure out what's the same. I guarantee you're probably going to be in a circle if you haven't changed anything.
Yeah.
So if you want to alleviate pressure, like first start by writing down what's giving you the pressure. Give it some time. And if you choose not to do anything, nothing's going to change. Do a couple small things, that pressure is going to start to relieve itself.
Yeah. I mean, I think with a lot of those types of things that we show up to and participate in, good or bad, I think some of it is just an acceptance. Like, yes, I asked for this. It is actually something I want or need in my life. And being able to remind yourself of that, you know, like I did ask for this, or I want the things that come with this challenge or the pressure of having to do this all the time, and just accepting like, yeah, I asked for it. Or I'm okay with feeling this way about it right now. You know, like the whole working out thing. It's like, if I'm not in the routine and not feeling it, like instead of beating myself up about it every day, I can just choose to say, well, I accept that I'm just not in that mode for however long. But eventually, when I'm feeling like crap over a certain amount of time because I'm not doing those things to make myself feel better or to show up to be healthy for myself, that doesn't feel good either. So then it's like, which one are you going to pick? You know, the uncomfortability of not doing it, or just the uncomfortability of doing it and feeling good about it. You know, like eventually you'll get sick of feeling the way that you're feeling. Or if you don't make a change, you're obviously not miserable enough.
I think we're all in this, like we're in a big like canister, like a big tank. And that pressure just builds and builds and builds. And then you can have an episode of just complete explosion, right? Or if you constantly turn the dial and let some air out and let some air out, you know, every day, just a little bit. We'll go for a run, a little bit, journal at night, you know, read a book that's gonna like a self-help book. Read philosophy, read something that's gonna better you. Read fiction if that's gonna better you, whatever. But slowly release this pressure and air until you can start to really figure out what's bringing on the pressure. Is it you, like we talked about before, creating the expectations? Is it you creating a value of your self-worth based off of what the actual outcome is going to be? Because in reality, just because somebody asks me to do something and I want to go and do that, that doesn't and that doesn't prove my self-worth if it's helping them.
Yeah. I mean, and it might not even be a matter of giving that to them or not. It's, you know, recognizing if you can or not. If you can't, then you let them, just being honest and saying, you know, I can't. And I think people have a tough time accepting not being able to show up for something, you know, like it's hard to do that. And then there's people that have expectations for you to do that, do those things for them, you know, like this is what being in a relationship is in their mind. Like you should want to do these things, or you should need to do those things. Like that's just what it is. And it's like, it might be, but if it's not, you got to talk about it. And if, you know, I don't know. I think just being able to talk about it and be honest about how much you think you can give takes a lot of pressure off of both sides of any equation, right? Whether it's a job or a relationship or anything. Recognizing what you actually can give to it.
Yeah. I mean, important. It's hard in all relationships, right? It's hard with your kids. It's hard with a spouse. It's hard at work to basically be like, I can't perform the way that I feel as if I should perform. And I feel a tremendous amount of pressure. Now, that's okay sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to have that fucking pressure. Like, I don't think at any point in time, I don't think in everybody's life that you should never have any pressure. Like, that's what makes you stronger. However, there is a level of that gets to be way too excessive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, we've talked about it a billion times. So does every other self-help podcast. It's the balance of it all. And I wanted to, you know, kind of talk about this because me and you were talking out there. Me and you have this tendency to be super self-aware to the point where, like, you read books and it's like you need to be self-aware. You need to have some kind of stoicism. You need to like understand where things are coming from and why, and like the domestication behind things, and we put ourselves in this place where we're so self-aware of the things that we're not doing that is creating the ability, or that's creating the negative factor of not doing the things.
Yeah.
Because we're so worried about all the things we're not doing that it's diminishing our mental capacity to even think about doing one thing. And that's where, doing the one task in the middle will break it up.
Yeah.
However, it's okay to be, how do I put this? And that, like Matt had told me about that in the different podcast, but it's like having enough stupidity in doing the task or in starting the task that you don't worry or think about the task at all. And it's hard to just basically say like, oh, hey, just be stupid and just go start the thing first. Like Nike has their just do it. Everybody has their thing to where it's like, just do the thing. Like I've been there recently where it's like, you're feeling like complete shit. You're overthinking this way too much. Just do the thing. And that's the ebb and flow of life. Like there is no push button every single time. Just do it until you train yourself to do that.
Yeah.
We never get better at anything unless we actually force ourselves into the situations to get better and continuously make the right decision. You're never going to get it right every time. Yeah, it's always a dance. You go forward and you go backwards.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why it's important to build up the discipline of the routine of the things that make you feel good or healthy, whatever that might be, eating, drinking water, sleeping, exercise, all that stuff that you is important. I think trying to just show up for that stuff, whatever you can build up as routine, you fall back to, however disciplined you are. So I know like when I'm feeling a pressure, it's usually feels like, stressful. And I think that there's a difference between pressure and like urgency. And I can recognize when I'm feeling a pressure that feels stressful and bothersome versus feeling like there's a sense of urgency to something I care about, And so for myself, I'm able to put some of that stuff away and not stress about it or worry about it because I know it's the stuff I asked for, right? Like anything that comes to do with my kids and like having to show up on a higher level for, I don't ever question that stuff. I try to show up for it. I try to do it. That genuinely makes me feel good and makes a difference for them, right? So I don't even question if I got to do something with them. I'm just on it, whatever. Versus a job or a relationship that feels like it's demanding more, and that feeling like pressure and stressful because some of that is stuff I'm asking for, and some of that is stuff that I'm feeling like I need to give that maybe I don't need to. It might not be asked of me in that moment. Some of it's just self-induced, some of it I'm saying that I think I need to give, and they might not even be asking it of me. That also happens. So I think it's important to recognize the things that are creating the anxiety and the stress, and like you said, I think just that's the pro of the operation. The bad operation is showing up for just those small tasks and just building on it. I think it's a huge benefit to be doing. And, I haven't been doing that the past few weeks. I fell off the operation maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And, it's probably part of why I'm not feeling great right now is that I just haven't been doing my, exercises and stuff. And I have the excuse for a couple of weeks of I'm so busy, with all this life stuff that it's okay. And now I'm in this past week of at the point of like, okay, well now I'm not feeling good about it. So, now we restart and get it going again. The cycle continues,
I mean, it's our job to break those cycles. What you just said too, is this like the self-induced pressure, that we create. negates any limitations that we should put in place for our lives, right? Like, if we're trying to grow, we're trying to be better, and we have a demanded list that we've created based off of a plan, which I don't know if I've even talked too much about plans on here. You know, I talked to Matt about it, like this whole aspect of me lately having this massive amount of anxiety and weight on my chest. Comes from my body's reaction to never having a plan before. And it comes from my body's reaction to always thinking something is around the corner, because the pattern has been I've allowed things to come into my space in the middle of me doing good for the sole purpose for the sole purpose of an excuse to break apart the good.
Yeah.
And that's a point of self-worth and self-destruction that comes with, and that I have allowed to happen to me. And this is like a self-realization in the past like 2 weeks of this happening, is when you constantly sit with anxiety and pressure on your chest, but you have downtime, but things are getting done all around you based off of the 90-day plan that you've created, or based off of a month plan or a week plan that you've created, when there's nothing else that you've added to your list because you are working on your limitations, you're working on your boundaries with all of that, and you've set that in stone, like, these will be the tasks that I get done, and I will not add anything else onto it. And if you're capable of, like, somebody calls you up and they're like, hey, I need the, you know, and you're like, no, I can't, you know, at least within this time frame, I'm working on something. This is my plan. I can't divert from my plan.
Clock in. Drink up. Shut up. Construction Coffee Co. is built for the job site, the office, and the crew that runs on caffeine and bad decisions. Get your coffee and gear now at constructioncoffeeco.com. Clock in. Drink up. Shut up.
Cass & Co. Upscale Thrift is redefining resale. Think timeless fashion, luxury brands, and curated pieces, all at prices that let you stay stylish without the splurge. Whether you're hunting for vintage classics or this season's designer staples, we'll make high-end accessible. Dress like you own the runway for a fraction of the price.
Having the plan is, and not diverting away from that plan isn't, I'm not talking about if something pops up, you're still working on that plan. You have to snake your way through the obstacles, right? The point of the plan is to better who you are. The point of the plan is to better your discipline, is to better your strategic value towards yourself, your limitations, and your boundaries. And I stress anybody to think about, like, or to say, like, when we're talking about that, that makes sense, right? Like, well, it's okay to not have a plan, but that's negating the fact that there are people out there who have never even started having some kind of plan to get to a goal. Those people need to stay on that fucking plan.
Yeah. Well, the plan
I need
gives
to
you...
stay on my fucking plan, because I'm not the person I want to be who can consistently work through every plan and stick to the goal, right? In order to be a person who can stick towards a goal and maneuver their way through a plan, you need to first get through one goal.
Yeah.
I think make your way through that without bullshitting yourself and lying and saying, well, I don't need a plan. I see my goal, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But there needs to be steps to that.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be predefined of, like, I have to take this step and this step and this step. Me and you are old enough and wise enough to know, like, those steps are going to have to, they're ups and downs.
Yeah. I mean, I think the plan in any goal or challenge, whatever it might be, is going to have like checkpoints, milestones, parts of the plan that are checkpoints to goals that you're achieving, right? Like, each piece of that plan is a step forward and is a milestone to, like, check off on your progress towards the goal. So yeah, I mean, I agree. You should try to develop plans for how you want to achieve things. I think that they can be helpful. I just think when there is a challenge, you have to, adjust and keep getting back to the plan.
Yeah.
You know,
and like you said, and having the compassion to know, like, I'm just maneuvering through this. Like, I have to give myself some grace here. I didn't know that my tires were going to go out on my car. I didn't, know that, the dog was going to get sick. Like, knowing that your plan is still there, you can step back on track at any point in time, but it's your responsibility to make sure that you're taking that step.
Yeah.
Get back on
part
track.
of the growth and the milestones of achievement are when the thing happens with the car. How do I still get to my goal while sidestepping this or dealing with this, and adding that to, when someone or something does get sick, how do I still achieve that goal while navigating through this? I think all of those things are meant to make us better and meant to help us evolve and grow. All of those challenges are pieces of the growth, right? That's why, like, looking back on life or achievements and stuff, everybody talks about it. It was like the journey. It was the process itself that was the most important aspect of said thing or said achievement. It was the walk and the challenges that got us to where we are, that made us feel the best about it. So I don't know, man. I know I put pressure on myself, or I feel stress in different ways, and I think everybody does. Whether we're taking action or not, we feel that pressure.
I wanted to, when we talk about plans, it's like, oh, well, how do I even start getting a plan? And then there's a level to me that understands, because I was in that situation of, like, I have no idea even where to go. I don't know my first step. Like, regardless of our, like, business's first step and, like, the bad operation, regardless of, like, the things that we're saying, I think when you have an immense amount of pressure on you, and when you have this overwhelming feeling of you're not doing good enough, you could be completely better, and, like, but you just don't know where to go. There's obviously there's books out of there. I don't even know where to start. Like, it's all a consistent, like, if we're going to break it down into reality, it's a consistent excuse to not reach out for one thing. But I also understand the gut-wrenching feeling that you don't know where to start.
Yeah,
I think one good option is, and I know that you're probably going to disagree with me on this because of the technology behind it, but nowadays, if we're going to utilize anything that we can to help ourselves out of a situation, if you were to just go and punch in everything that you're feeling and everything that you are feeling and everywhere that you want to go, or the place in life that you want to be, just go punch it into chat or AI. And I know that's where
it's a terrible idea.
I know. It's going to help you at least develop a plan. I know that you absolutely hate this.
It's going to help you think that you're doing that. And in some cases, I think you could get some initial momentum from it.
Okay, let's
that's
negate. I was about to say, let's negate the fact. I'm not going to go into conspiracy.
It's designed to just pacify you. Like they've studied it.
I agree, but
which
not when you allow it to.
But it'll get
on my behalf, on any of my.
How would you know?
What do you mean?
How would you know?
Because I'm self-aware enough to read something and say, hey, that's pacifying me.
Are you?
Yes. I'm not a fucking. I mean, you can read go ahead and read anything that I have written down.
That's just what it's designed to do.
Has it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? Who said that? Are you getting your shit from Instagram again? Are we doing this again?
There's a Stanford study you could find that talks about how the chat models.
We're still going off of what Stanford studies?
Well, I'm just saying.
Or are we going off ourselves?
Or was it MIT?
I don't
care.
Of them. I don't trust any of them at all.
So all I'm saying though is it's I think if you want to get the ball started, get the ball rolling on
this is what
creating a plan, then that's totally fine. At least it gives you something like a jump off point.
I'm not saying.
But once you get the ball rolling,
get out of there and do it yourself.
You should be putting the work in to help develop yourself.
I appreciate
to figure out the path, not rely on that. That's all
I appreciate you playing with the experience, because the moment I said it, I knew you would come back to it. But that is what I'm saying. If you can't figure it the fuck out, punch it into AI. It'll help you get the ball rolling.
Start somewhere.
Make sure that
for
you
sure.
watch if it's going to pacify you or not. But regardless,
Yeah.
Chris, you're right. I completely understand it. You cannot use it.
You can't
How about
rely
this?
on it.
I can have it develop a 90-day plan for me, right? Now my 90-day plans are going to look completely different than anybody else's because I'm also utilizing it to, I know what I want my 90-day plan is. Now, how did I get here? I started with a 30-day plan. I started with a week plan. I started with a day plan.
Yes.
How did I get to that day plan? When I was in the struggle of, I don't know where the fuck to go in my life. I heard one person say, hey, you should do a push-up today, no matter what.
Right. And so what I will say is you have taken action steps in your personal life to help develop yourself to where utilizing a tool like that, you're still going and putting in the work.
Yeah.
So you may use it to help lay something out for you, but then you're taking actionable steps to drive yourself forward. I think the only point that I would make on that, or the only pushback that I would have, is it's good to get the ball rolling, but if you simply only rely on talking to a platform as your work, like if all you're doing is talking to chat, to use it like a therapist, to try and work stuff out, I don't think you're actually growing from that.
I think so
you're
either.
utilizing a system that's designed to keep you engaged and keep you feeling a little bit better about yourself, to give you enough dopamine hits to keep using it.
Yes.
And if all you're doing is talking to chat, I don't think you're really going to grow.
Okay,
You're going to think that you are, but
is-
you're not. If you take what it's telling you to do and then go and interact with life and follow those steps and figure out how to jump off those steps, then I think it's wonderful and a great tool to use.
Okay. I love the fact that we just broke this down, because there's tons and tons of influencers. There's tons and tons of like high-end business people who will just go, hey, you should use chat. And then people who are already susceptible to the immediate dopamine hits from Instagram, TikTok, from eating like shit, from drinking, like they're already, or, you know, whatever other thing that they're getting, their poor hits of dopamine in, they're going to get that same amount and that same satisfactory moment by telling chat, hey, I'm sad today. Be like, oh, it's okay that it said the weather's like this today, and da. If I'm glad that we broke that down, because what I like to do, especially on here, is take the very simple things that influencers and that other people are saying, you know, like utilize AI as much as possible, da. That's right. You should try and utilize it. It is a good tool. It's helped me do tremendous things. If you're not doing the things that it's suggesting on a small level, like if I'm like, hey, I've been eating like absolute shit and da because of this, and this. And it goes, well, hey, you could try doing this. But if you're not actually doing the try, you're not doing the task, you're not going to benefit from it. Like the only reason that I'm capable of doing the things that it might suggest, or that, and really I use it for structuring. I punch in what I want to do now. It's only because I've done the work to get as far out of that as possible. I've done all of the steps to get me to where I am today. And I still have a whole lot of steps to get me to where I should be tomorrow, or where I want to be tomorrow. I'm not going to put the pressure of should on me, but where I would like to be. I utilize that in that manner. So utilizing AI as a therapist that's going to get you to a point of, hey, it's okay, whatever it's going to respond with. If you don't make any progression steps outside of punching something in, you're just sitting there complaining to something that is designed to agree with you 90% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think
especially when you're not looking for a factual information on it.
Yeah, that's why we have so much of a disconnect in society, right? Whether it's a chat format. I mean, that's new. AI is relatively new for the general public and all that, but even with social media, right? Like that's why you have all these people online that think they're experts in things, you know, like we just talk about things that we learn about, all of that. the best teachers are people that'll point you in the direction of like knowledge, but not try to tell you what to think about it, right? Like if you're feeling this, go look at that. I know we try to put books out there, and we kind of try to relate with our thoughts and stories, but I'm not telling anybody what'll work or not for them. It's what I've noticed or thought about things, and if
what's worked for
if
us,
you find relevance to it or whatever, then sweet. If not, whatever. But we have a whole bunch of people out there in society that have read a bunch of quotes online and then think that they're experts in psychology or any other number of subjects. They read a bunch of quotes and then think that they know like what being a good person is, and it's like, that's not what develops you. Going and reading the book from the quote that you got online would help develop you.
Yeah.
And then doing the exercises in that book that it suggests in order to develop you is going to be
not just saying the quote.
Right. And so that's why, I think we have a bunch of issues that we have out there.
100%.
That's why you get all these different buzzwords for stuff
Well,
like
we get,
toxic,
like,
toxic trauma, this and that. We all have trauma. We all have toxicity, all of that. What does that mean for you? Like, what are you doing about it?
I literally just heard that, like, this reel, and it was fucking hilarious to me, because it just, like, the way that I think is that when someone goes, oh, that's my trauma response, and it's not. It might be your response now, but it's your fucking responsibility to go and fix it.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility to go and take care of that, and not just start shouting at somebody because you feel a certain way because something happened to you. Just because you've been domesticated in that aspect of however that, like, first situation occurred, doesn't mean that you have the right to treat people around you or yourself that way. It's not a trauma response. It's a fucking excuse to continue acting like an asshole. And like, that's what, like, all of the buzzwords when it comes to that have diminished
the actual the meaningfulness of those issues and problems.
It's also diminished the ability to, or not the ability, but it's diminished the trend of actually working on yourself. When you create excuse words, because people, lazy fucking people, want to use the words like trauma response and want to use words like that, when you create the excuse words for it, then you don't have to work on it anymore. It's just another, like, oh, that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. You're right, it fucking happened to you. And it sucks that it happened to you.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely awful that it fucking happened to you. Guess what, though? It happened to you. And it's your fucking fault. And it's not your fault. It's your responsibility to fix it.
Right.
I'll cut out the fault part. But I won't. It's a mistake on my end. But it is your responsibility to fix it.
Yeah.
You have to figure out a way to move on from that terrible thing that happened to you. It's not anybody else's responsibility, and it's not anybody else's fault either.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, I think, hang on to the trauma and the problems of their past. They kind of let it define who they are. We have a lot of different ideologies in our society right now that just make it so automatic to go to the issues or problems or trauma, as like self-defining issues. When I have tried to meet people or whatever in the past and kind of done that whole getting to know people, that whole cycle or whatever, I'm sure people can relate to that. Like I can tell a lot about somebody based on when they describe their history, and when you hear so much blame cast outwardly at different life experiences, it's like, well, that they're not really taking much accountability in like how they interact with and affect life to get them in their circumstance that they are now, right? Like a lot of it's just the blame game or victim mentality, and that goes for like a ton of different areas in life. This happened or that happened or this person treated me this way or whatever, and it's like, but you also were a part of that. Yes, life will happen. Sometimes tragedies happen and things affect people that they had no control over, health stuff especially, people getting sick, that type of thing, people dying. Like, you obviously have no control over that stuff. But situations that you find yourself in, if you were able to get out of a bad one, then that is some sort of growth, and if you continue to grow, You're going to work through it and out of it. And that can't be like the crutch that you're always bringing up and making a part of your present as to how and why you are this way. Like, yeah, you might be that way. It might have affected you, but make it better. Like, don't just make that your defining principle or your defining character trait, identity. It's terrible.
It's absolutely awful.
Like
I can't.
It's
stand
hard to watch.
It's really hard to watch,
and you see it online a ton.
I tend to stay the fuck offline.
Yeah.
It's really challenging to watch, and the people that you care about and love, and we offer help to those people like when we're seeing it, but ultimately it's always up to you. We've talked about that a billion times. It like I can't force somebody to get over a situation that happened to them when they were young.
Right.
I can tell them that it's going to be okay and it's going to be better if they just move on.
You can hear them and be there and support them, and then the goal should be to help point them in the direction of growth, right? Like this book, that therapist, this person, whatever.
I equate it to like a passerby, like, and the reason I say that is to protect myself from getting too involved. So the way that I've thought about it recently is when I see somebody that's in need of help or like somebody that I care about or love, when they're distressed about that situation or they're willing to like ask for some help for a minute, I equate it to like a passerby where someone's like, hey, do you have the time? Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it's this. That's it. Mm-hmm. You do the answer. You don't defend the answer. You don't tell them that they're not doing right or that they haven't been doing it. And you don't willingly take on their stresses. You don't willingly take on even the negative rumination that they're stuck in. I mean, I have some friends that'll still call me to this day to bitch about the same things that they've been bitching about for 10 years. Mm-hmm. I don't talk to them anymore. Mm-hmm. They'll call me and I'll go, hey, how's it going? In the moment. And I there's parts of me that feel bad about it, but I know it's for my better health too. And it's for theirs. And they'll start to go on. They'll start to ruminate and talk about the things that they've been talking about for the past 10 years. And I go, man, it might just be time to get over it. I got to go.
Yeah.
Because, and who cares? Like, it might sound callous. It might sound shitty, but to better myself, I can't allow that negativity in.
Yeah.
And to better myself, I can't allow any bit of the pressure that I put upon myself to take care of the people around me and to be a savior for everybody. I have to fight that feeling, obviously, but it also helps them.
Well, it's important to recognize the aspects that you're talking about. And I think it's also in part why we will challenge each other, right? If we're stressing, feeling the pressure, feeling the stress, whatever, we'll both hear each other out. And then it's like, well, this is what's wrong. Obviously, like you see what you're not doing for yourself and you could be. And usually that helps, it's important to try and be there and relate and let people feel like they can talk to you and genuinely be there for them and then offer them the direction if you know it or haven't or can give that insight. Not tell them what to do. Just this is where I think you could grow. This is where I think you could look, and that's really all you can do, I think.
Yeah, I think something that's really helped me too is the understanding that when you it's funny, my brain will automatically negate the fact when I say when something is right or when you have the answer. Like my brain goes, well, what if you don't? Like, there are situations where you're letting your ego get ahead of you and you're making a biased decision or making a biased point that you are.
I don't
right.
mean my thought or whatever is the only answer, but when you think you have the answer.
Yeah. And dude, I'm terrible today at losing my point. That was So when you're doing that and you have the point to where you are, where you do know the answer and somebody's there wanting to know it, when you give somebody an answer and then you are consistently trying to back up that answer, it's almost like you don't even believe yourself.
Right, like you're trying to convince yourself.
Yeah, that it's the right answer. But
Yeah.
like, what I mean by that is like, don't get into the argument with the person you're trying to help if you know that the answer is right.
Mm-hmm.
You know that this helped you. If you attach emotion to it,
Mm-hmm.
you're now trying to defend it, and there's no reason to defend it. There's no reason to get emotional. Like this could work with like you're getting into an argument with your spouse, but it's like I'm not even gonna argue about it because
it's like you
this
said,
is the answer.
It's like you said with the passerby thing. The whole point is to offer advice or a solution and not be attached to the outcome of that, and
Right.
whether or not and not attaching their success or their decision to follow or not follow your advice and tie that to like your self-worth. This is what it is, and
Why do you think we
not
do
get
that?
caught in the weeds with it? I think because we inherently, I think, base our value off of how we think the world sees us, and if there are people that we care about that have an opinion on us, it affects us, right? So there's a desire to please the people we care about, so we want them to think highly of us, or I think it's rooted in a lot of ego.
Do you think that there's a balance to that, or do you think that everybody should live as a I don't care what people think?
No, I mean, I definitely think that the way to live would be to have a balance. I think that goes back into a lot of different philosophies of living, right? Like once you attach an outcome to a situation or a thought or whatever it might be, an outcome, when you attach yourself to that, that's when you run into expectations and disappointments. And I think that when you can give advice, you give it and hope that they follow that. That's that like loving detachment in something. I think that's when you get into the weeds, is when you do attach yourself to it. And as far as where that comes from, I think it's just environmental and growing up. Like we're societal creatures, we're social beings, and we care about things and people. And a lot of people look to the outside to define their happiness. It's external things. I think a lot of people can be surface level to some degree, where if something feels good, then okay, great. If something doesn't feel good, then I don't want it, kind of deal. And I think if people were more self-aware and realized how they interact with life and people, and kind of stayed in their lane, I guess, for lack of a better term, or similarly to the Don Miguel Ruiz books, where you're at the dance, right? And you're at the ball or the dance or whatever, and everybody's dancing their dance, but you're all in the same room dancing together. It's knowing that you're going to be interacting with people throughout life, and you have an effect on them. They have an effect on you, but ultimately they have to be the ones to initiate action and thought in their lives, and you only have so much influence over that. So when you can do your dance with them or spend time in life with them and be a positive effect, that's great, but you can't let it define you, because they're still doing their own dance. They're still on their own journey. You're on your own journey. And even if you're a parent, like my kids are going to end up being adults and having to live their own lives separately of what I want for them or think for them or hope for them. And if, like, I will consider it a success if they line up with some of those aspects. There's a good chance that there are things that they might not feel the same way about or want to do that I think would be good for them or whatever. If I only make my happiness about that happening the way that I want it, then I'm probably going to be disappointed. If I can hope that they're just going to be reasonable people and decent people and leave the world better, then that could be enough.
Right.
It's just how much attachment we have to those outcomes. So
I wanted to just bring up back to the point of when you're doing this whole passerby thing. It took me quite a long time to get to that place.
Oh yeah.
I'm still in the place, like and I don't want people to assume, and I don't really care, but I just like, I'm not a callous person when it comes to that. I spend a lot of time trying to help other people and try to take care of other people. I mean, that's 90% of what we're doing here is trying to help ourselves and help other people kind of break out of that factor. And I had a friend one time, this is in the past 7 years when I first started like actually trying to grow and start taking care of myself. And I was only in the first year of like doing my best to stay away from drugs and drinking and, and that whole aspect, like really when I had first made the jump, realizing that something bad was happening is actually like when I had gotten my diagnosis of being bipolar. And I thought at the time like, oh, this is terrible for me. And in reality, now looking back, I'm like, it's actually probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me is to understand that there's something going on that I need to continuously watch. And it doesn't put pressure on me anymore. It puts responsibility. And I had a friend tell me like, they had consistently gone through problems that ultimately were their own fault. And I saw that all the time, but I was always there for them. And I was always willing to stop what I was doing to take care of them and really try to help them through that, negating any of the limitations that I was trying to put on. And they had said to me like later on that you had abandoned me. And I just responded with, no, I'm just done abandoning myself. And I try to stick to that, to the fact that I'm done abandoning myself. So when a situation arrives with any of my friends and my family or like, and I'm doing the work to become disciplined in the fact that I need to be a passerby, I don't always have the right answers. And if I don't, I'll tell people that I don't have those right answers. And, this might be a place where you could read some books, and I won't even name books because I don't know of the situation that they're in, but like do some research, and it takes 2 seconds. You can Google what time or you can Google what the weather is going to be today. You can Google a couple books on the situation that's going to help you. But being a passerby in those situations helps me as much as it's helping them. And I really want to bring in the aspect that that's you not abandoning yourself anymore. That's you not intaking any of the negative things that are going on.
Yeah, everybody has to want to make action steps in their lives or it's pointless. A lot of people just want to be babied or pacified or reassured that their line of thinking is right.
Yeah.
And be able to vent or whatever about something. And
to put that out on this podcast too, like that's the one thing I steer as far the fuck away from as possible. And like I do notice us doing a dance of like, oh, we got to protect what we say here and protect what we say there. Because ultimately I'm not trying to steer people away that are looking for help, but you're not gonna.
The point should be to genuinely grow, not to just feel better.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
thank you.
We all experience tough stuff. And if you're putting yourself in that tough spot over and over and over, then what do you expect? So there has to be a genuine desire to make life different and better. And then once that's there, it's a lot easier to give that advice and somebody take it. If you are trying to do that and they don't want to take it, it doesn't appear as though there's a desire to really make a difference. So I think it has to be a genuine desire for growth on anybody's journey,
You good?
Yeah.
What are we at?
112.
Split episode, dude.
There you go.
There's 2.
Yeah.
You cool with that?
Yeah. Check out our website. It's been redesigned.
Oh yeah, new merch, new designs.
New designs. The whole layout of the website's been redone.
Yep.
Looks good.
Check out our advertisers too. Thank you to Construction Coffee Co. They just uploaded a bunch of new merch and redesigned their website too. And Cass & Co. Upscale Thrift in Dexter, Michigan.
Our website is www.
You don't even have to put it, but it's thebadproject.com.
Mm-hmm.
Go there, check everything out, sign up for the newsletter. You guys are going to get exclusive deals, sometimes free merch. You get the list of the books that we're reading and really just what we're thinking through for the month. And you basically watch us grow this from the ground up.
Yeah. The B.A.D operation is on there if you want to check that out.
Yep.
A health and wellness program.
We're almost a year in, and I'm super pumped about that. I'm not necessarily wondering if we shouldn't do an episode of like a couple of us, like maybe me, you, and Matt, talking about our year end and like the growth that we've made through the year. I was going to do it personally, on a personal aspect. I'm not sure I'm ready for a personal episode. I think I'm still working through and got a lot of stressors in my life right now. But
I don't know that we could all hear you talk for half an hour or an hour.
I don't think I could either.
Just kidding.
I'm kind of sick of myself.
Just kidding.
Being the one editing the podcast, I can't stand hearing my own voice.
Oh, I'd
But
hate it.
I think it'd be good for me, you, and Matt.
Yeah, it'd be
Sit
fun.
down.
It'd be good.
Let's plan it.
Yeah.
So July 8th.
Running circles in a straight line spin, just checking in on the state